Hello, loves. It's Kat here from Selfunity. Welcome into your weekly divine reading. I'm so grateful to be here with you today, love. Thank you so much for joining me. And if this is your first time tuning in, welcome to my channel. I'm so grateful to be in connection with you. All right, love. So I am really excited to be returning to these weekly energy readings and astrology updates. I know I took a little bit of a time gap from sharing these, but I am back and really excited to be sharing these divine messages and downloads with you all once again. And today is actually the day that I'm filming this, is actually the new moon in Virgo, Saturday, August 23rd. Okay, so new moon in Virgo, and this new moon is actually kicking off eclipse season. So that means that we are 2 weeks away from experiencing the first eclipse, which will be in the full moon in Pisces, and then we're going to have the next new moon also be in the sign of Virgo, which is very unique to have two new moons back to back in the same sign. All right, so this eclipse season is going to be a very grounding eclipse. Okay, it is offering us a chance to really get grounded and rooted in spaces where we have been needing to take physical action on something. Okay, so this energy is offering you the opportunity to meet your manifestations halfway by alchemizing your manifestations with activation action steps. Okay, so you're going to really be tapping into your inner fire and allowing yourself to let that inner fire guide you into the physical spaces that you need to be in order to help co-create your dreams into your present reality. Okay, so there's something that maybe you have been putting on the back burner, putting to the side. Maybe you like to write to-do lists every day, and there's just like one or two things that you just keep rewriting every single day on that to-do list. You're just like, I am going to do that someday, but today's not the day. Well, this eclipse season is saying today is the day, now is the time. Okay, so there is something that you've just been pushing aside, pushing aside, and now this new moon in Virgo is bringing this to your awareness. Okay, so you're going to be planting those seeds, setting those intentions for you to start taking the action steps that you need to take to actually make that task on your to-do list happen in your reality. Okay, so what do you need to do in order to get yourself into the spaces, into the state of mind, or maybe there's some emotional energy that you need to clear out in order for you to start moving into that physical space, start moving that physical energy for yourself. Okay, and let's see if we can get you some examples here. Okay, so Spirit's giving me the example of they're actually giving me this example of public speaking. Okay, so say maybe somebody here wants to be a singer. You want to get up on stage and you want to sing your heart song out in front of an audience. That is like your dream. That is your divine mission. That is your divine purpose. But you haven't been putting in the applications to, to reserve the spaces that you need to reserve in order to get yourself up on that stage. Or maybe you haven't been going to those music lessons, those song lessons, those instrument lessons that you signed up for. Maybe you registered for an online class to help fine tune your skills in your voice or in the instrument that you play, but you haven't done the work. You haven't actually worked through that class yet. Okay, and so what's coming through in regards to that is there could be something stored within yourself that is like an emotional attachment, because we have that full moon in Pisces coming up in 2 weeks. Okay, this is going to set off eclipse season. We're going to be like in the thick of it when we have that full moon in Pisces. And that energy is all about emotional release. Okay, so if you're wanting to put yourself up on stage in front of an audience and sing or play an instrument that you really love to connect with, you're really good at it, that this is your divine gift, this is what you're meant to be doing, meant to be creating, meant to be sharing with the world, but there is some emotional energy that is preventing you from getting up on that stage. Okay, so maybe you're afraid that people aren't going to like your song. Maybe you're just scared of the amount of people that actually show up and want to hear you sing. Maybe it just seems like it's too much. Maybe you're afraid of your own power, like the responsibility that's going to come with you stepping into that role and actually starting getting up there on stage and committing to this divine gift, this divine mission that you're meant to be pursuing. Okay, so that is just one example. This can be applied to whatever your dream is, whatever goal or task it is that you're needing to complete during this eclipse season. But this is something that is connected to a passion of yours, okay? Because eclipse season, it connects us with the deeper truths of self. And with this being in Virgo, this is about grounding into your reality, bringing that manifestation into your reality through you taking that alchemized action steps, those action steps to alchemize your manifestation. And then also, oh, dang it, the message slipped away. I hate when it does that. You all know this happens. Okay, we'll get back to it. We'll come back to it. But yes, this eclipse season is all about, getting grounded. Okay, bringing your manifestation into this physical reality by grounding it in through the physical action steps that you take. And then when we have that full moon in Pisces, let's see if I can get the date for you here. It's going to be on September 7th. Okay, so when we have that lunar eclipse, full moon in Pisces on September 7th, this is going to be about emotional release. Okay, so the next couple weeks, you may be a little bit in your feels as you work through, as you begin to take these action steps and start working through that energy in the physical. There may be some heavy emotions that come up from time to time. That's because you are transmuting them. You are releasing them so you can transform and transmute them into the energy of truth of what you actually want to be experiencing and not what you want to be holding you back. Okay, because we don't want that energy holding you back anymore from moving into these physical spaces. We want you to release it and transmute it into the magic of what you actually want to be experiencing and feeling internally. Okay, so Spirit's coming through with a question that you can ask yourself. How do you want to feel when this manifestation, when this dream, when this item on your to-do list is checked off, is completed, is received? How will it make you feel when it's done? How will it make you feel when you are working through it? How will you feel when you're taking those action steps? How do you actually want to feel when you're up there on stage? Do you want to be shaking in your boots? Or do you just want to be vibing and connected with your intuition, with your intuitive gifts, your beautiful song, connected with that instrument that you're playing for others, and just letting it go, just knowing that you're meant to be up there in the moment? How do you actually want to feel in that moment when you're connecting with this dream, this desire, or this goal of yours? Okay, so ask yourself that and remind yourself that as you're working through this energy over the next 2 weeks. Okay, so that was a big channel message that came through for you all, love. So I love it, and thank you, Spirit, for that message. But let's go ahead and just touch base a little bit with what we're going to be working through this week as far as any transits that we're experiencing. So we just talked about the new moon in Virgo. This is setting new intentions. And then Monday, August 25th, we have Venus entering into Leo. Okay, so Venus entering into Leo. So this can highlight love and relationships. I'm getting the message that this is going to definitely be bringing the focus back to yourself because we are in eclipse season. Some people may also be getting like unexpected gifts from lovers, so maybe from a significant other. Maybe you have like multiple suitors. Maybe you're kind of dating around and you just start getting showered with gifts from like everybody that you're in connection with. Maybe some past friends, maybe some like family members are sending you gifts randomly. Okay, so something with getting gifts randomly is coming up for you when Venus is entering into Leo. And then I'm also getting this message around just kind of self-care, where Venus in Leo is very much about, it's very much like, so Venus can be, not necessarily Venus, but Venus and Leo can very much be about your appearance. And so there could be some energy where you are shifting your appearance in some way. So maybe getting a haircut, maybe getting a makeover, maybe getting some like fillers or Botox, plastic surgery coming in a little bit, maybe doing some adjustments, body, what's the word? Like body adjustments. So maybe even like acupuncture. No, that's not the one. Oh, chiropractor. So maybe some chiropractic adjustments. And anything else, Spirit? Also makeovers, but I think I said makeovers. Okay. And then we just have the first quarter moon that we're going to be shifting through. And then we have the second quarter moon coming up on Sunday, the 31st. Is that the 31st? Yeah, the 31st as we close out the week. Okay. But let's go ahead and pull some tarot cards today. So for today's reading, we are using the Akashic Tarot. And gloves, I totally forgot to mention, but I changed the setup a little bit. I wanted to try something new because I have this beautiful fabric here, this beautiful like yellowy rose kind of fabric, and I just wanted to incorporate it in a reading somehow, but I'm not totally sure I'm loving it. So let me know how you feel about it. And Spirit also wanted me to mention the crystal grid that I set up for this reading too. So we have Ammonite, which represents wisdom, which all these crystals were intuitively selected. And when I think about it, it makes perfect sense with us entering into eclipse season. Okay, so the Ammonite crystals here represent wisdom, intuitive knowing. And this one's actually a fire ammonite, which pairs perfectly with this carnelian because this is all about igniting the fire within, which is in alignment with taking those action steps. And then we have the quartz in the center with also citrine and quartz here, which is the stone of abundance, good health, good wealth, good life, luxury, manifestation. So it's the stone of good health. I'm not sure if I said, I think I said health. Oh, I am definitely like in the energy of channeling today because it's coming in and going right out. All right, so let's see what our tarot cards are for today. And this is the Akashic Tarot. Okay, let's get one more. And then we'll get into our messages. All right. So we have the Eight of Scrolls, Paths Unknown. Eight of Scrolls, Paths Unknown, needing to make a choice. All right, and Spirit, oh wow, we have Eight of Forces, 2 8s there. The Lightning Bolt, 8 represents karmic returns, also represents the energy of abundance, knowing that what goes around comes back around. All right, and then we have the 3 of Scrolls, setting your course. Oh, and Spirit wanted me to remind you that even though we talked about eclipse season at the beginning of your reading, eclipse season can span out for the course of a month. Just keep in mind that the tarot reading is intended to be a weekly reading, but all my readings are timeless, are set with the intention of being timeless readings. So whenever you're drawn to tune in and listen to the messages that come through in this reading, it's because there's a message in it that you're meant to receive at the time that you're feeling called to listen to it. All messages of guidance that we receive are timeless, and they come to us in the divine's perfect timing when our soul is ready to receive and activate those messages within. All right, so our last tarot card here is One of Keys, the Architect. All right. Okay, so what I'm getting here is for some of you, there is a course change that is happening, okay? So like I said before, I'm seeing this energy where there's something that you keep putting on your to-do list, or something that you keep thinking about, an idea that keeps coming up, but you kind of keep shutting it down, okay? It's almost like you're looking through the spyglass here and you keep seeing this island at the distance, and you're like, we gotta go that way, we gotta go where the rainbow is guiding us towards, but your shipmates back here, like, that's not what the map says. The map says it should be over there, but you keep looking over there and it's not over there, and you just know intuitively that you're meant to go to the space that's very visible in your spyglass, the space that only you can see through the spyglass, okay? That's your intuition there. And it's like you just keep listening to your buddies here who aren't even the captain. They're just the ones holding the map. And they're telling you, where you got to go, but you're the captain and you get to make the decisions as to where you get to go. And you can totally chuck this map in the water and choose to steer your boat in a different direction to the new island or to the new spaces, to the new task that you're seeing, that you're wanting to move towards. Okay. So what I'm seeing is that there's something that you're meant to be pursuing, something that you're meant to be connecting with. But I feel that you haven't allowed yourself to pursue this path because it's a little bit unfamiliar, because the map hasn't been created for it yet, because you don't know which direction you're going to have to go in once you set foot on that land, once you set foot into that new space. You really don't know what's going to come of it, okay? But it keeps tapping you on the shoulder. It keeps coming up in your vision, okay? It keeps making itself known to you that it is available to you. And the only thing that you have to do is step onto that path. Step onto that path that feels a little uncomfortable, feels a little unknown, but it keeps hinting at you and saying, hey, I'm here. I'm just waiting for you to give me a chance. Okay, and this is a new beginning because we have one of keys, the architect. And so you may also be fearing taking this path or pursuing this task, trying this new thing out, because it's going to require you to start over in some way. It's going to require you to build anew. Okay, the architect, once they finish a building, they can't keep building on top of that building. They have to find a new plot of land to build something else, to build something different. They can't keep building the same building over and over again, or, you know, they might get a little bored. And that's kind of the energy that you've been in, where you keep doing the same things over and over and over again. And thus you just keep getting the same result over and over again. But there is a new path that's available to you, that has been available to you for some time. You've just been like kind of wandering around, lost at sea, only you're not lost at sea, because you know exactly where you're wanting to go. You know exactly where the rainbow is guiding you towards. It's just that you're kind of holding yourself back from actually pursuing it and actually allowing yourself to visit those new spaces, to explore those new spaces, to learn something new about these spaces, because you are afraid of you're afraid of like the effort that it's going to take for you to actually get started on this new path. Okay, but it's like you've been here before, in a sense. So Spirit's kind of saying that you've been here before, but you haven't been here before, in the sense that even though it feels like you're having to start over in some way, you have a completely new set of skills, new connections, new ways of thinking, new ways of doing things. You have completely new perspectives on life. Okay, and so if you were to start over, it wouldn't be the same as it would have been in the past when you had to start over before. Okay, so it's okay to allow yourself to enter into these paths that are unknown, to set a new course for yourself, and to build something completely anew. Even if it's a little similar to what you've already been pursuing and exploring, it's just there needs to be a shift in some way. Something new needs to come in. So, you know, even though you've been out at sea exploring all of these different islands, exploring all the islands on the map, and now you're wanting to explore this completely new island that has never been maybe traversed upon before, since it's not on the map. You're still doing something similar to what you were doing before, where you were like visiting all these different places, doing all these going to all these different islands, these different lands. It's just you're going to one that hasn't been pursued before. Okay, so let's see if I can get a little bit of a better example here, Spirit. Let's see if they'll bring in one. Okay, so we're going to go back to the music example. So say you have been a singer, okay, specifically using your voice to sing. Okay, maybe you've also dabbled in guitar a little bit. Maybe also dabbled in piano or drums, okay? And so I'm going to label those instruments under a specific genre. So say you've been using your singing voice, practicing guitar, practicing piano, practicing the drums under the genre of rock and roll. But you have this interest that keeps kind of like, you keep getting like this peak, this lightning bolt of inspiration to try out a clarinet. But you're just like pushing it to the side, because you're like, that's not rock and roll. That's not what I really do. But it keeps coming up. You know, maybe even one of your instructors, or like a bandmate, or just like somebody like an acquaintance who is also in the music industry. Maybe they offer you a clarinet. You know, like, it's just like the universe keeps telling you, like, hey, you got to try this out. And you just keep pushing it to the side because you're like, that's not rock and roll. That's not what I do. But it's still in the same genre of like music, and yeah, in the same genre of music. It's just not in that same niche genre of rock and roll of what you've been pursuing, okay? And so Spirit's saying that you, just because you haven't given it a chance doesn't mean, and just because you have to start over and learning a completely new instrument doesn't mean that you don't have skills and wisdom and knowledge that's going to force you into like completely starting over. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. So, like, you still know how to read music. So, when you start playing the clarinet, you'll still know how to read music. It's just that it's going to be a little bit different because it's a completely different instrument. And maybe because you're going to be playing music in a completely different genre than you're used to. But you're still going to be reading music. You're still going to be working with music. You're still going to be working with sound. You could still be using like the background elements and tools that you would be using to create music with your other instruments or with your voice when you're working with the clarinet as well. Okay, so it's not like you're completely starting from ground zero. You're just starting over in a new way with something new. Okay, and give yourself permission to try it out. Okay, Spirit's coming in really strong and saying, give yourself permission to try it out, because it keeps nudging you. It keeps coming in and saying, hey, I'm here. I'm just waiting for you to make your way over to me and give me a chance. And you know, if you try it out and you decide that you don't like it, you can go back to what you were doing before. You don't have to commit to it if you don't like it once you get started, but you haven't even gotten started yet. So don't take that and run with it, Spirit's saying. Give yourself permission to get started with it. All right, let's go ahead and pull an oracle card now from the Woodland Wardens deck. All right, we'll take these two. Okay, so we have the Bear and Cedar, number 4, leadership. The Bear, have courage. We have 10, the Duck and Chrysanthemum, luck. Yes, okay, luck is coming in for you this week. And then we also, okay, Roman numerals are testing me here. I think this is 49. The Horse and Bluebell, modest fortitude. All right, the Horse and Bluebell, modest fortitude. The Duck and the Bear, Chrysanthemum and Cedar. Okay, so the message is shifting a little bit here, but Spirit is saying to have courage this week. Okay, put yourself in a position where you are the leading force in anything that you're doing. Okay, because you are the leader of your life. You get to make the choices of what you pursue, who you connect with, and what you experience and what you learn in this lifetime. Okay, and so there is this energy coming through where this week is going to provide you with the opportunity of claiming responsibility for yourself in the sense of stepping into this leadership role for your life. Okay, and when you do that, okay, the horse medicine, horse energy is coming in where you're going to be stepping into that role with a sense of modesty, a sense of humbleness, because again, for some of you, you're going to be committing to something that you've always wanted to commit to, something that has kind of been nudging at you, something that you've been feeling intuitively called towards, but it's going to require you to humble yourself a little bit and to step into this new space with a bit of modesty. So even though you are choosing a completely new path and you're moving onto this new path with a sense of leadership for yourself and your life, you know, like you're making a completely new choice to change the course of where you're going, to change the direction of where you're going, and to pursue something new that takes a great deal of confidence, a great deal of courage, which is the spare medicine here. But it also requires you to humble yourself a bit because you're stepping into these new spaces where you have to step outside your comfort zone and be a little bit uncomfortable for a little bit with these new spaces, with this new energy, with these new connections that you're making. Okay, so just be mindful of that. Okay, don't walk into this space thinking you know everything. Don't be saying like, I know everything, I got this, I know how to read music, I know how to write, because then you're not going to allow yourself to learn something new, and you're not going to leave room for the magic that wants to breathe through, the magic that you're meant to witness in this experience, because you are being guided to kind of pivot a bit, because one, you're getting more in touch with your intuition and your intuitive gifts and this new space that you're meant to be existing in, that you're meant to be creating in, and people that you're meant to be connecting with. But at the same time, there's something on that path for you to learn, okay? Because we have paths unknown here, and we also have one of keys, the architect, and the lightning bolt, which is all about inspiration, new ideas, new knowledge, and new wisdom. Okay, so there is something new here that's being offered to you as far as wisdom. Okay, wisdom with the ammonites here as well. All right, but we also have the duck and chrysanthemum, which is bringing in this energy of good luck, also closing out a cycle, endings, transmuting, transforming into new beginnings as well. All right, love, so let's go ahead and pull our last couple cards here. So I'm going to pull a couple cards from this deck here. This is the Secret Garden. I feel like there is some luck that's coming in for you, something unexpected this week that, you know, of course you weren't expecting to experience, you weren't expecting to receive as you start stepping into this new path. And I think for some of you, it's the very idea of you stepping into this new path to begin with. So for some of you, there could be some very drastic changes happening where, like, 1 minute you're working a 9 to 5, the next you're turning in your 2 weeks notice, or maybe not even turning in your 2 weeks notice and opening up your own business. Or, you know, maybe 1 minute you're living in California and the next you're moving to Europe. Wow, look at that, we have adapt. You will get yourself where you want to be. Yes. So adapting this week, where it's like big changes are coming in, but these changes are actually things that you have asked for, and they present this like this idea or this magical energy of feeling very lucky, feeling very blessed. But it will require you to adapt, because again, you're moving into completely new spaces that, even though they feel very inviting, there's like a very strong pull for you to move into those new spaces. It is going to be a little bit uncomfortable because it's something completely new. Surprises! Venture down the rabbit hole. Yes, this is like everything I just said. We have confirmation there that surprises of luck, good blessings are coming in for you. And patience, wait for the fruit to ripen. Okay, so if you are continuously thinking about this, okay, so there's two messages coming with this patience. One, if you're just sitting around looking through that spyglass thinking like, oh, I really want to get over to that island, but you're not moving the boat there, you're not going to get there. Okay, but then once you start that journey, once you start moving the boat there, maybe the current comes and it gets really rough, it gets really strong, maybe a storm comes through and it prevents you from getting to the island with this like quickness, with the speed that you were hoping to get there. And it's because the universe is testing you and your tenacity and the level as to like how bad do you want this. Okay, it's trying to show you, do you really want this, or do you really want that comfort? Okay, so it's really testing you. Okay, so have patience with the journey getting there. Okay, also step into that that leadership, that strength energy, because you will get there if you keep working at it. Okay, but you have to commit to it, you have to stand strong in it. and own it. Own it if it's your truth. Continue allowing yourself to work towards it, but know that you may have to adapt as you start walking along this path and start moving closer to that island or to that destination or to that goal. And remember that you're starting over, okay? You're not starting over from ground zero, but you are starting over in some way. And so it will require you to have patience, because you're not going to be able to build the new path or build the building or get to the island in just a day. It's going to take time. It's going to take growth. It's going to take surrender. It's going to take fortitude. It's going to take courage and confidence and trust in the universe and adaptation as well. All right, love. So I think that is it for today's reading. I thank you so much for tuning in. Let me know if you enjoyed this reading, what message resonated with you the most. And let me know if you like this new setup. I'm not sure if I'm feeling the vibes, but I kind of like it. It's kind of cool. It's just a little different. And I also want to let you all know that for this weekend only, I am having a 30% off end of summer sale on all my recorded private reading. So if you would like to book a recorded reading with me at 30% off, you can send me a DM on Instagram until August 24th, Sunday. All right, loves. And thank you so much again for tuning in. Until next time, my loves. Bye.